Hi there. If you're into car design and you've ever wondered how sketches like what you see here on the screen make it into the real life products, like let's say this Aston Martin 177, you're in the right place because I'm demonstrating stuff in Alias, basically the link between sketches and the 3D object that eventually makes it onto the street. So I've been building this Aston Martin 177. If you're interested in this topic, if you want to learn something really cool to do either tuning projects or whatever you want to do in 3D, this is the right package and you're in the right place to learn the basic skills and see some demos on how we do this. Today, I'm going to show you on this example basic tools that we use to make a mirror, because this is what I'm missing on this car here. And what I need for that is a couple of curves, a couple of surfaces, and some simple techniques to get this in here. So if you're interested in this, follow along. If you're not, then you know what to do. I'd appreciate it if you stick around and learn something, or at least get an idea of how things get done in the car design industry. So, our mirror here, what do we need for that? Well, we need the mesh model. If you haven't seen the tutorials before, and if you want to know where to get this mesh model, check out my previous videos. I'll try to link up there in the corner, a banner, and you can click on that and you'll find it. And once you've downloaded it, we can jump in straight to this and start building this. The first thing that I'll need here is I'm going to hide away all the work that I've done so far, because I don't need that. Today is going to be about the mirror. And for that, I need a plane here and I need some curves. One simple tool to get planes in here would be Surface from Mesh. And you can find that under Surfaces. You click on that, you pick your mesh, and I'm using the following settings. So simple surfaces or theoretical surface, it doesn't matter because it builds it bigger, extended, and I'm using here the normal angle. In theory, this would be a flat surface or almost flat. Let's put it that way. In real life, this would have a bit of crown to it, so you would see that you would see your cars in your dead angle. But here you can see that this is flat, so I can use that there, and I will build off of it. Just a simple 1 degree on both sides, and I'll hit build. And that's my plane there. That is done. That's cool. And the next thing that we notice is that we have here, if we look at it like this, we can see here that we've got, let's say, a pretty flat area that goes around from this side to the other. And then same here, and then this rounded area. So what we will be doing is I will be generating 2 planes offset to each other, and I will be generating curves that sit on those planes and then start adjusting everything accordingly. How do I get a plane in there? Well, that's simple. I've got this plane here. I know where I want to be with it. So what I'll do, I'll extend this. Making sure that I have the merge setting put in there. I want to go this way. So overbuilding a little bit. And now what I will be doing is snapping a degree 1 curve. So the curves would be here under curves, new CV curve. I'm bringing it somewhere in the middle of this rounded area, and I want to have it angled something like this. And then the next line will be with Control, I've snapped the start point there, and with the middle mouse button, I'm just placing it somewhere. And I'll generate a monorail of this curve along this line here. And we can see it's not hitting what we want. So for that, I'll take this CV, I'll go into Pick CV, and I will move it up a little bit. So now we're starting to have this sitting in the radius in that area. But you see around here it doesn't do that. So what I will be doing is pulling that point ever so slightly up. And that should be roughly the plane that we are looking for. Now I'll take this surface and I will go into Object Edit, and I'll offset it, because what I want here is an offset sitting roughly where this lower part of the flat surface here, this flat area, ends up being. This will help keep all of these lines on straight planes, and this helps get the surface quality in, because if it sits on a plane, it doesn't look like it's an S in space. So that being done, my next move would be to start building some curves to get this kind of a contour in the top view. I'll also extend this line here, so I'm making sure I'm overbuilding, and this curve gets moved to that new endpoint. I'll extend this line now that way, and I'll place this curve, so I'll move its pivot. So set pivot, and I'll set it at that endpoint there with holding down Control, and I'll move it there. That is how we do that. I'll extend this a little bit more, up and down. And this surface will serve me as the face of that area there. That means that I want to offset this till it looks like it's sitting around there. Now that we've got the planes and mirror planes, let's start building this. So what I'll do is look at the car from the top and get in some curves. So I'll start off roughly here, and I want to pull that curve up. And these curves, we will turn off the CVs because we don't want to change them at all. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll pull some CVs, so follow along, do the same motions. I want this line to look as much as it can like that intersection there, and then I'll get one or two lines in here. So it's gonna be pretty basic. I've got this one dialed in roughly here, and I'll start working on the same plane, on the same height like this one, and make sure that I keep on going there. So what I've done there is getting it a little bit flatter around this area, accelerating in there. Same here at the top, at the front of it. Let's evaluate the curvature on it. So we've got accelerating areas a bit too much actually there, and this one seems to be pretty decent. Let's optimize that a little bit more. Now we'll extend this one back to that point there. Make sure you've got the merge function turned on the extend tool. And I'll take this surface and I will be intersecting it with this top offset just to get the ends of these curves sitting on that plane there. So now that we've got those done, I'm going to do a Z projection onto that plane of these curves, and I'll make sure that I'm projecting curves and match the original. That should do it. And what we can do now is actually start building these surfaces here. So I'll take those two at the moment and I'll template them as I don't need them at the moment. On these two curves, I will turn off the CVs because I don't want to adjust those. I want to keep their history. And you see here, we're a little bit in the model. So I'll take that and I'll bump it out a little bit. This one will flatten a little bit. That kind of does it. Let's turn on the, let's see here. That's okay. I'll do a monorail, this along this one. We'll already start seeing where we are sitting, and we need to make sure that we have some sections here. And let's do them closer together. So I'll push at this point in because I want to get closer down there. This one moves forward. This one as well. We want the sections to be very similar. And now we can take these two, bump them out a little bit. And around here we will need to have a bit more accent, at least based on this model. So we can take that CV and pop it out a little bit. This gives it a bit more volume in that area. And then we can also take that CV and slide it this way. So we are a little bit too far now, but that's not a problem. Just add this onto a separate layer. And that is because I want to be able to see the sections better. Let's get this curve dialed in better. So I'll go degree 7 on that. And the reason why I'm doing that is I don't want too many curves. So if you've got too many curves, then it's more difficult to control. So you have to strike a balance there. This will also slide out. And we will be getting there soon. Now we just need to slide that whole accent a little bit. I'll slide that in that direction. Take all 3 of them and slide them like that. You see we're getting closer almost everywhere. We can flatten this one out a little bit. And we are getting there, closer and closer. Now, this one needs a little bump outboard. So this could have been one curve and a second one and a blend between them, but I want to try it this way. Just keeps everything a little bit lighter when it comes to the number of curves. Not that light when it comes to CVs, but that's that. Okay. Now we need to get this curve to rotate it in the Y direction ever so slightly to get it to sit on those sections. We can flatten it a little bit, although it hasn't got much curvature on it either. What I want to do is see if we can start rotating it, what it will do. So we're seeing here we're getting closer and closer. Here as well. And here it's bumping out, but in a constant level, so that's acceptable, at least for me. And that will do for that area for the moment. I will also extend this curve a little bit, because I will want to cut that surface back with that plane. So I'll intersect these two. And then trim that back. And this will be a very good base to start building the bottom area, and then we will see what else we need to adjust there. Now the next line would be this one here. Let's pick that template again. The lower one. Intersect it with that face. That goes back to being a template again. And this curve now will sit here. Now make this a degree 3 as well. And I want these two to move outward a little bit in the y direction. Let's run that monorail again. Let's see how we are doing there. Now we have to change the direction of our sections. We'll go to the x-axis, also make them a lot closer. So I'll put 20 mil. And let's see what we get here. So we are off by quite a bit. So that can become a degree 3. That can flatten a little bit. This one can take a bump. So we need to get in this area closer. And that means that those two need to move actually in. That is acceptable. And this curve now will move down there. And we can see this has become a lot better. And that accelerates out a little bit. That one as well. And I think that will certainly do it. It will need a little bit more of this. Let's pick this template again and intersect this monorail with this one. And that would be that area there. That will have a nice blend going across there. And the next thing that we will need is actually that frame. So let's dial that in. And for that, I'm saying we will have one curve here, another one going across here. We got the one there, this one here. So I was thinking I'll do one curve going across here and a second one going down there, meeting that line that we've got there. That's going to cover the top area. And I might do a similar approach on the bottom area. So go from here this way and then one accelerating that to that direction. For that, I want to take this surface in here with me, this curve, and start building that. So as you've seen, I'm aligning this curve to this one with a curvature requirement, and then I'm just fine-tuning it to have it sit here. That will do for this part for the moment. Now let's go ahead and bring this surface here. I'll extend that upper curve ever so slightly. We'll have to clean this up a little bit. The idea behind there is I want to take that surface and intersect it with this one here. Now I'm going to take this curve, slide it back, extend it back a little bit till we still have a slight intersection there. That's just going to help us finding those points there. That looks still pretty okay. So we'll go with that. And now back to the curve building business. Bring that in there. Bring it across to here. So I want to have that curve sitting on that plane. If you notice, I'm moving normal direction of the curve. I'll take that same curve, turn it to degree 3. Take that CV and move it also normal. That there. Then the last bit will be going from here, roughly that way. What I will be doing is taking these two curves, moving them back, and these two curves will have the same thing happening to them, because I want to have them sitting on one plane so it's easier to work with. So these will be the projection curves, and I will be projecting onto that surface there these curves to match original setting turned on as curves. There we go. Now that curve becomes a degree 3. The other one follows suit. This is what I like about working with history. And that does it for the moment.